Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Minnesota Overlanders channel. Again, here on Saturday, I will be on the Sin City Tactical channel. However, as of tonight, we are going to do a bit of a live stream here on the YouTube and the Facebook, as you've seen on the intro video. So let's go ahead and welcome Wes from Sin City Tactical into the podcast. What's up, Wes?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not too shabby. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right.
So, again, for our audience, let's welcome Sin City Tactical's head operator, my brother, Wes. He's helped a lot and a big contribution, for lack of a better term, to the overall buildup of the Minnesota Overlanders brand. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, you have the website, minnesotaoverlanders.xy, or Minnesota Overlander, .xyz, or sincitytactical.xyz. And then G3survival.com is still scrolling there with us because obviously we got to show some love for the rest of our extended family that's not a part of the brand.
Absolutely. Shout out to Controlled Pair Munitions. My buddy Jared owns a gun store out here in Vegas off of Cheyenne and 95. You guys can go ahead and check that out. If you do go in there and say that Wes from Sin City Tactical sent you, he'll give you a pretty good discount on anything inside the store. So check that out as well.
That's awesome. Before we jump into the rest of the topics here, the one thing I will say, being a part of the community, it's good to know people that know people. If you're just getting into the Pro 2A community, number one. Number two, if you're already into the community and you are networking and doing outreaching to extend not only that olive branch to build a tight-knit group, for instance, like at the gun ranges, but even just as friends itself and finding something you guys have in common, it's definitely another good way to meet people. So definitely go out there, check out the gun shows now that they're back out and running, meet some like-minded people, do all that good stuff, and most importantly, stay safe.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Gun shows still haven't opened up yet here in Vegas. They should be soon. And, ranges, I believe, are going to start. Well, indoor ranges, I should say, should be opening back up soon, so we're excited for that.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I know our outdoor ranges up here are open. I'd have to call, for instance, Stock and Barrel. I believe they're open. I think Griff went up there with one of his co-workers for that, but, just because of everything going on, I'm not quite sure if it was before the shutdown or after everything slowly started opening up here. So moving into the first topic here, again, we mentioned it in the last podcast. We came up with a slogan, kind of like Sin City Tactical's Pull the Trigger. Minnesota Overlander slogan is Be the Leader. Now, a good question there is, what does that mean? Now, to many people, it can mean a few different things. Be the leader, for instance, could mean being the point man on a firing team, or being an example for the younger generation, or just being a leader in general in your everyday life, whether it be your personal job, your family, household, whatever it is. And you take that role of being, the decision maker, the protector, all of that. Being the leader really entails just leading the way, at least in my opinion. What does that mean to you, Wes?
So be the leader, right? There's many different ways that you can look at that particular phrase. It could be, like you said, taking charge of a team or something along the lines of that. For me, be the leader is be the example setter. Make sure you're taking the right steps, doing the right things, abiding by the laws, being a good example for others, right? So, like for me with Jonna, I have to be the leader. I have to set an example. She's going to follow what I do. So, if I don't be the leader, especially a good one, it could lead her down the wrong path. But also, with be the leader, it's a mindset. For me, it's a mindset, right? And that's why I'm glad that you picked that as your guys' motto, or you guys picked it as your motto, because it's a mindset, right? There's fight or flight instincts, and then there's followers, and then there's leaders, right? And leaders tend to be more successful, but I think at the same point too, it's one of those things where you have to keep yourself humbled too when being a leader. If you let it consume your mindset and allow it to take control, you could be a very bad leader too. So I think it's a positive note for encouragement and guidance, right? That's something that you see walking around. I would love that, to walk around downtown Vegas and see on the back of somebody's shirt where it says, be the leader, because it's going to remind me, hey, I need to make smart choices. I need to be the one that sets the example that other people want to follow, right? And then, of course, be the leader that I want to be, achieve the goals and stuff that I want to achieve. And, of course, I'm a big believer in only things are going to happen if you make it happen for yourself. Of course, you'll get help down the road and stuff like that, and people will come in and be there to support you. But ultimately, if you don't take the first step, you're not going to get anywhere that you want to go. You have to be the leader of your own destination.
And I totally agree with that statement. Now, speaking of being the leader, like you said, you make the choice to be the example, especially, not only for yourself, but for your daughter.
Yep.
And that's not necessarily the overall general idea leading behind the reason we picked that, because all of us are leaders in different ways. Like, for instance, even though I wasn't necessarily in a lead role when I did my time in the Army, I still had new privates that were incoming into the unit that would come to me and ask me how to do things. Like, for instance, when we got this new guy, it was like 2 years ago. He's actually real high speed, knows his shit now. But when he first got to the unit, we were doing crew serve weapons training on the M2 Browning 50 cal. And so, a good portion of the PCC and PCI classes is what they were calling it, was aiming down your sights, learning how to rack the slide and chamber the round, unload it, load it, clear it, all that good stuff. And then towards the last half before actual range qual, it was learning how to field strip the weapon, tear it down, clean it, put it all back together correctly so that it functions. And one of the biggest things that I told all the new incoming guys after being in, I think at that point for 4.5 years, that I had picked up on and learned was every drill, even if you are all fucking ate up, whether it's you didn't shave the night before getting to formation and you're getting your ass chewed out by the NCOs because of it, or whether you're not passing PT and getting your ass chewed out because of it, doesn't matter. Always bring a fucking multi-tool, in which case service side was a Gerber.
Absolutely.
And the reason for that is when you take off that back plate of the Browning M2, there's a spring that sits, connected to your bolt carrier that allows it, to function and slide properly. Yeah, sure, you can get it out with your thumb, but it's definitely over time going to tear the fuck out of your thumb and hurt like a son of a bitch, especially when you go to put it all back together. So the easiest thing I found was if you take your needle nose pliers, close them all the way, put it up against, the end of your spring, pop it out of its, retaining hole. You can pop that out, pop the spring out, tear it down, do what you got to do, and then put it back together in reverse order. And actually, surprisingly, out of all the new incoming privates I told that to, he was probably the only one that actually listened and picked up on it. So I'm proud of him for that. And, being the leader is just the subtle little things you do. So, for instance, like that, no, I wasn't, being paid NCO pay. I wasn't necessarily in a training environment where I was the head guy in charge. Especially for the PCC and PCI courses that we were going through, there were E5 and E6 NCOs or even E4 corporals at times are teaching the actual class from the not necessarily Army booklet, but the -10 manual. And overall, what it really came down to is, yeah, sure, you can have somebody higher ranking preach it to you and, teach the class and give you death by PowerPoint for 45 minutes to an hour all they want. But the only way you're really going to learn how to do it and be proficient at it, especially, for instance, of having to do it in the field, is by getting your hands dirty and doing it yourself. Now, on the same side of that, if you're not quite understanding it, trying to do it yourself, the first person you're probably going to want to ask is your battle buddy. Unfortunately, it was just him and one other guy that are fresh into the unit being thrown on this weapon system that, they probably haven't sat behind since basic training on Cruiser Weapon Day, where all they really did was go to the range and fire the weapon. They didn't get a class about how to properly load, unload, clear, let alone tear the weapon down and field strip it. So I guess per their eyes, even though we were roughly the same pay grade, I was the leader in showing them how to do something that they didn't know how to do.
Absolutely. Take initiative, It's how you carry yourself, right? When you carry yourself as a person that's willing to stick their neck out there and help others, you're being a leader.
Exactly.
And that's huge. You know what I mean? It's extremely huge. I do have a question, though. I see something in your video that's piqued my interest. And it kind of looks like the top of your logo.
Wow.
So what is that? What do you got on right there? What is that?
Before I answer that question, we're just going to go ahead and put that up there. Secondly, before I unveil it, though, later on in the podcast, I do have another story in a different manner of the term being a leader. However, just recently got in the Minnesota Overlanders hoodie.
Absolutely. That's cool.
You can go to minnesotaoverlanders.xyz or sincitytactical.xyz. Go ahead and click on the Minnesota Overlanders tab if you're getting to the website through sincitytactical.xyz, or if you type in minnesotaoverlanders.xyz, it'll bring you right there to the shop for the Overlanders. And you can go ahead and pick yourself up one of these hoodies along with the shirt Wes has on as well. I'm almost positive that that's on the Sin City Tactical Products page. Now, the hat, however, is custom made.
It better still be there.
Yeah. The hat, however, is custom made, so you guys, I don't know how Wes is exactly going to work that, but...
No, this is an exclusive. This is a me hat.
Members only.
Might be a giveaway type of item later, not this particular hat, obviously. These ones I'm getting custom made separately. As you can see, it's
the New Balance.
Yeah, good quality hat. And I got this one custom made for me. Stand out separately from, the rest of the merch. But, I might be running some exclusive stuff here in the future. So that's something that, you want to stay looking out for.
Yes, sir.
So how's the quality of that jacket? How's that feel?
The overall quality is great. It's actually really comfortable to wear. Soft cotton. Instantly from unpackaging it, when I first threw it on, and even still now, I mean, I threw it on last night when I got in for a bid just to try it on and do a fitting. Felt great. Kept me warm last night while I fired up the grill and cooked some fish. Definitely kept me warm all day today at work with it being warm out. And here I am sitting in it after work drinking beer and talking with you during this podcast. So, I mean, it's definitely stood up to overall durableness, especially dealing with
Durableness. The
yeah,
durability test.
or durability. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. It's been a long, long day. But I mean, it's definitely stood up and held. I thought for sure, take it to work with me today and on the civilian side and test it out, see if it could stand up to doing what I do all day, 8 hours, and no rips, no tears. Soft cotton keeps you warm and comfortable. Not too heavy though, where you're dying in it. So, I mean, overall, it's really good quality.
That's good. That's good to hear. I've got a hoodie on the way, and I got another shirt coming for me. And Go Pack Go. I see that cup.
Yeah.
I see that cup. Go Pack Go. Gotta have that.
On the helmet.
A-Rod. Clay Matthews.
But see, we don't play till Monday night though this week, there, brother. So
Right. Brett Favre. Charles Woodson.
Brett Favre.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm all decked out in Packer stuff, so they better not go anywhere because I would be in big trouble. With
if they moved, we'd be in some questionable decision making there.
Right. Oh, I do want to give a shout out. Anybody locally who's trying to get some tattoos, look up Pricz, Pricz tattoo. They're off of Sahara and Rainbow. All the tattoos that you see were all freehand from my buddy Trey. I think this is the best part. Let's see if I can't get it out there. So it's the front of a Viking ship, the dragon head. And I know on the camera you can't really tell, but it is wood grain that he free-handed. And, of course, it tripped me out. I'm sitting there looking at the Sharpie marks that he's drawing on me and going, dude, I don't see any fucking head of a dragon on this shit. And he's like, just trust me, bro. I got you. And then Celtic knotwork and stuff. This is also, well, I guess you can still kind of see it. This was phase 1 of a cover-up. So I'm the type of person where I'm going to sit in the chair for 11 and a half hours and go, all right, cool, I'll see you next year. Just because I'm not going back 17 times to get everything done. But for one shot, I mean, it came out pretty good, I think.
Hell yeah, it turned out real great. And that's the whole thing too, is I'm looking here in the future to get some done myself. Unfortunately, the closest place to me is out in Egan. But if I'm ever down that way, in Nevada, hanging out with you,
I'll get it hooked up. I'll get it hooked up for sure.
Sounds good there, brother. So,
hey, real quick, go into your solo screen.
All right.
For you.
All righty.
I wanted a chicken casserole.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, you're good there, brother.
Family stuff happened.
Yeah, it's all good. Family happens. Family comes first.
I had to settle that real quick. It looked like dinner was about to start being made, and there was a plan that nobody else knew about except for me, so I had to shut that down real quick.
Oh, there you go. So one of the other things here, I think we'll save that for the next topic, so we're going to bring this up real quick.
All right.
So Saturday's podcast notes. Tomorrow, October 3rd, we will be doing the collaboration podcast with myself, Wes from Sin City Tactical, and the executive operator of the Minnesota Overlanders, Griff. We're all going to be on Sin City Tacticals channel, so come check us out. That will be happening at 2000, which would be 8 p.m. Central Time. Otherwise, it starts at 6 o'clock over there in the Nevada time zone there, which would be the West Coast.
That Pacific time.
That Pacific time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely stay with us. Check that out. We'd love to interact with you guys more. And the reason I put that up here before leading into the next thing here is this. We have topics that we're going to cover, obviously. And kind of like I mentioned before, we talked offline about doing once weekly tactical gear reviews. So, which means each week we pick a piece of tactical gear or even just preparation gear in general. It doesn't even necessarily have to be fully tacticaled out. You do a review on it, give your thoughts and opinions, do a little bit of discussion, and then, that's your product for that week. However, here's the other kicker to that. For all our viewers and listeners, we are not getting paid for doing these reviews by the companies.
Nope.
We're just doing it because not only are we avid pro Second Amendment lovers ourselves, but we are also preppers. And if we go and we find a quality piece of tactical gear or just, readiness gear in general, we're not going to be stingy and hog it up all for ourselves. We want you guys to know. So this way, if you're preppers like us, you can go out there. If it's within your price range, pick it up and add that to your not arsenal, but your wardrobe, we'll call it, for a PG-13 term there.
Absolutely.
So, definitely stay with us for that topic. You're going to love what we got in store for that. Also, we have some other topics. And if you want to check out and view what's coming, you can definitely head over to sincitytactical.xyz under the blog page. You will see the upcoming topics for tomorrow night's collaboration podcast. In the QA portion of tomorrow night's podcast, we are going to get a little bit more in depth on the latest presidential debate. So stay tuned for that because we also have a special guest for that portion. And just to kind of backtrack here for just a brief second, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Sin City Tactical's website here, which Wes brought up for me oh so kindly. And he is showing you the upcoming topics for tomorrow night's episode on Sin City Tactical's channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first topic, cheap new guns. We're going to talk about guns that are coming into the market that are in a reasonable price point. That second one is, like Jack said, the tactical gear item. You want to talk about the CLS training a little bit?
Yes, sir. The CLS training in general, I did it 6 years in the Army. Basically, from the time you start basic training, here I'll pull up the full.
What is CLS? Break down the abbreviation.
CLS, that stands for Combat Lifesaver, and you basically learn it from the time you're in basic training throughout your entire tenure in the service. So most people, like we've talked about, actually on our first or second collaboration podcast, most people are used to what we would consider boo-boo kits. So basically that's your Band-Aids, your
aspirin,
medical tape, aspirin, shit like that.
Yep.
What I'm talking about is a little bit more in depth. So that's like your cat tourniquet, your combat gauze, your nasal pharyngeal, shit like that. Actual battle wound style medical care and care under fire. So it definitely has some similarities to what my wife went through for her college program. She definitely has a little bit of boo-boo kit training per what I would consider it, because it's a civilian side, and they basically took the CLS training, civilianized it to basic lifesaver training. So that's like your CPR and dealing with major carotid artery medical things. So it definitely differs in kind of what you're taught and what you learn. She's more prepared for if you fall down and scrape your knee. I'm definitely way, way, way more prepared for, let's say, you get shot in the leg.
Yep. Stopping the flow of blood. Very,
Exactly.
very important. It is a matter of life or death normally in those type of situations, depending on the wound, the location of the wound, and various other factors, right? You could get lucky and miss a artery right this much and be okay, but you still, at least what I was trained with, is you treat every single wound like it's 100% life-threatening, and you have X amount of minutes to, give and administer that treatment to stop the flow of blood. So then you can take your battle buddy or whoever's in your group to a safe location to receive more in-depth medical treatment. And most of these situations, right, when we talk about CLS training and stuff like that, you're not close to a hospital when this shit kind of comes into play, right? You're out in the desert shooting, or you're
off grid,
somewhere off grid, right? And you have to be able to stop a bleeding wound right away. For me, this is the order of survival: security, defense, same thing, security and defense, medical training, range and shooting training would be next. I want to know how to, set up a perimeter, be able to watch what's happening, make sure I could be observant with some situational awareness. That's another topic that we're going to be talking about on Saturday's live stream. Being prepared for bad weather situations. That's also another topic we're going to talk about. And then, having your vehicle loaded out in the correct manner, not only for defense, but for medical treatment or emergency situations. If you don't mind, I want to talk about that piece just a little bit.
Yeah, can I interject real quick just for 1 second here? Being as you listed off your kind of list of what's important in that kind of a scenario. Now, mind you, listeners and viewers, this is coming from my brother, Wes, from Sin City Tactical. However, unfortunately, due to medical reasonings, even though he tried to enlist, unfortunately was never able to get in and get the training that I've gotten.
Right.
However, here's the difference to that. Obviously, defense and medical care are his first two, platforms to go off of, because it's him. And then right under him that he's worried about is his daughter and his daughter's mom, which is awesome. Now, when it comes to myself, yes, I have my wife, love her to death. But me having that 6-year training and that mindset, my first thing once I'm into the field is to establish a BSA. And what I mean by a BSA is basically what back in the day they would call a fob. So you want to get your campground all staged out, ready to go. You need an entry point, an exit point, a perimeter of security, as Wes was talking about. Now, in the process of all of that, when you're setting up your perimeter of security, you're drawing range cards, which will be a topic for a later date. And I will go a little bit in depth on how to actually draw up a range card. However, after the range cards are set up, after perimeter security is pulled and everything else, you get the main food rations figured out and when chow is going to be going on. You get your campfire going for warmth. and obviously for food necessities. Make sure, you have a reasonable amount of space between where you're cooking your food and your bathroom and then your water supply. So this way there's no cross contamination. But then other than that, you just sit back and you do your thing. Obviously, you still want to keep your head on a swivel and have situational awareness, like Wes was saying. So this way, somebody's not coming up and ambushing from behind. So definitely, I agree with what you're saying. Just my order's kind of a little bit reverse order there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so with mine, right, base camp and perimeter security is number one. So basically we have the same setup, at least for number one, is that. And then the medical stuff, what I meant by the medical stuff was supplies, making sure I physically have the supplies with me. Obviously, the shooting portion and that aspect of it is very, very critical when it comes down to any type of defensive type of situation, right? So base camp, perimeter, situational awareness. Do I have all the medical supplies that I need to be able to not only, have my personal IFAC, but multiple med kits for however many people I have with me? Can I handle the trauma situation per person, right? I don't want to have one cat tourniquet with 7 people because one person could get shot. Okay, great. I can handle that. But now if 2 other people get shot with them, I only have one. Now what? Do I pick who lives and who doesn't? That's not my job.
No,
right? Nah, that is not me to pick. So I need to be as prepared as possible when it comes to that. And I know you said prepper, right? And most people think prepper crazy. Psycho got 9 million pounds of food and all that crap.
And the sad part is that's not even what we mean by preparation.
Not at all.
Not at all. And a good portion of the people that think preppers are like that are actually getting their facts completely flipped around.
Well, you look at like Netflix. There's that show called Doomsday Preppers on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
and those people are whacked out.
Oh yeah.
First of all, bugging out is retarded. You're better off bugging in because you have all your resources in one spot. You only bug out if it's like the only shot you have at living at that point. I'm not leaving my house. This is where all my guns are, all my ammo, all my food, everything that I need, I already have here. But that's why I have the vehicle loadout topic for Saturday, is because in the event that I do have to get the fuck out, I can get in my vehicle and know I'm going to be prepared. I keep emergency, food rations in there, medical supplies. I keep some ammo in there, a rifle, a pistol, multiple different things. And, I'm ready to go if I have to, but that's not the goal. The goal is to be prepared where you're at.
Exactly. And before we move into the next topic here, I'm going to piggyback off of what you said. Like he said, he basically is prepping in a minimalistic aspect compared to what you see on these major doomsday prep shows. So, me, myself, I still have to restock up on my MREs, which I may grab like 3 or 4 of. But realistically, those 3 or 4 MREs I'm grabbing, that'll go in the not necessarily bug out bag, but shit hit the fan bag.
Yeah, your go bag.
Yep.
EDC bag.
So, right there, instantly it's food rations, couple spare changes of clothing. You obviously got to have your ammunition, your firearms, and shit if shit did hit the fan. But always, again, like per that military story I was just telling a couple minutes ago, always keep a Gerber on you because you never know when you're going to need a multi-tool.
Yep.
Keep a knife on you because even if that knife goes dull, that Gerber's going to back you up. And then, it's basic shit like your plate carrier, your flick, your headgear. Definitely for me, anywho, I know I've already told you. Yep. Or, a nice little pick like that.
I like my clinch pick, man. It goes right on the belt. I keep it appendix carry right out front. It basically sits right where a normal belt buckle would go. Doesn't impede any of my movements. It isn't poking me. The little Kydex like holster thing that it comes in is also not getting in the way. You can angle the
Can't.
the whatever the hell that is in either a vertical position or a horizontal position. And then it's a CRKT little clinch pick, which is nice. And then, of course, it's got finger grooves knocked out of it. This is an EDC item for me. This is an everyday carry item, right? So that is something that we're definitely going to have to do a podcast on or a live stream on. EDC.
I like the pick idea. However, I've also been looking at a new EDC knife myself. I'm looking along the lines of a foldable karambit with a sheath that fits EDC on the belt too. So, there's many different options when it comes to non firearm related EDC self-defense weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But, when it really comes down to it, you pack minimalistically and you get the fuck out if worse comes to worse. And that's essentially the type of preppers we are. It may seem like we prep tenfold in depth. Yeah, minimalistic. Look at his wallet. I know mine's a little big, but that's because I have like fucking 30 different rewards cards plus.
Oh, well, my shit's loaded out, bro. It's loaded out.
But, realistically, though, even still, and this is the funny part, I'm still lugging around this big old leather wallet, right?
Yeah.
But the only reason it's so big is because, cover that up there, it's got that, right? But then you fold it out, it's got a third flap, all cards up in there.
Yeah.
Has one slot, two slots, and then I think there's like a zipper slot on here someplace. Or no, not on this one. But there's like 2 different offside pockets right here. One right up in here. And then what I didn't realize until long into having the wallet is there's one right up in the main fold flap there where the ID goes.
Absolutely.
So
mine goes ID first, CCW second, USCCA insurance membership card,
third.
NRA card, and then of course it gets into like, everybody's favorite card. That Costco card, gotta have.
Oh yeah, gotta have the Costco.
Matter
of fact, speaking of Costco, I was just there and I bought 6 pounds of fucking ground beef today. So
yeah, absolutely, Costco, gotta go there.
Yep.
Not to mention they sell other items besides food and stuff too.
Yes, they do.
And then it gets into like debit cards and.
Yeah, we won't expose the 16 digits on the front, the expiration date, and the 3 codes on the back. So.
And the zip code, because the zip code out loud. But so for me, like I carry this, right? Very small. It's nice, flat. It's metal. That's why I like it, because it is metal. Say the clinch pick falls off or something, whatever, hypothetically speaking. If I have to grab this, I can literally bash something if I had to. Break a window, break glass, bust somebody up in their fucking head with this shit if I had to.
Oh, yeah.
There's different means and methods for everything. And then, of course, it has the money clip on the back. I don't really like carrying cash on that. I like carrying cash in like a different pocket, like a front pocket, just because if somebody does get my wallet, you're not getting my cash too. And that's one thing too, I don't know how you feel about this, but I try to carry at least one expensive item on me when I go out places for a specific reason, right? Because for me, knowing how to shoot and how to protect myself and situational awareness and all that, that's great. But sometimes you just get caught off guard. You can't be 100% prepared 100% of the time. It's not
Oh
possible.
yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
So for me, like, an Apple Watch, it's a kind of expensive watch, not nowhere near as expensive as like, the Rolexes or something like that. But if I had to give up my watch to get out of a bad situation, I would. Just because I have a gun on me doesn't mean I'm going to pull it and start firing. If I can de-escalate the situation and stay as, gray man as possible, I would like to do that. So I'd rather give up my watch and walk away alive than get into a gunfight or a knife fight or a fist fight. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we've said this, I don't know how many times now in the course of the tenure that we've been doing this, but first things first, before even drawing the goddamn firearm, get off the X.
Always.
Find the escape route. And if you don't have one, then try to de-escalate it first calmly. But if your life is in that, amount of imminent danger where you have no other choice but to pull and discharge your firearm, then make sure you know where your target's at and what's behind it, because you don't want that bullet going through your target and accidentally hitting some innocent person or innocent kid that's just walking down the road. Do everything you can to try to de-escalate it or get away from the situation before you actually have to pull the firearm. And I know we've said that many a times before, but now that also leads back into the next topic here of kind of a more in-depth personal thing here, because yes, we do this podcast for you guys on a weekly basis on Saturdays as a collaboration. Now, we're going to do a bit of a offline personal segment here, being as we're not on the Sin City Tactical channel for a second. I want you guys to understand that, yes, we are pro Second Amendment guys. We love our Second Amendment, love exercising it. But at the end of the day, we're more than just that. We have families, we have actual real life civilian jobs outside of this. And again, that goes kind of back into our mottos of pull the trigger and be the leader. Now, pull the trigger can even have many different meanings. And before I go into the story that I'm going to touch on, be the leader, I'm going to give you my insight on my pull the trigger meaning. Fatherly love. You're muted there, brother. Can't really hear you.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. There's that thing. It's called a mute button. You were talking about personal life and family and all that fun stuff. So here's a kid and her Hummer windshield forehead. H1. She got the H1. And look, it's even got the window tint on it. It's shiny. All right. Bye-bye, John.
Whole thing. I will wholeheartedly say this. No, we haven't actually been face to face in person yet, but I'll tell you what. At the end of the day, if it came down to it, and we were all out in public and shit hit the fucking fan, you're goddamn right, I'd jump in front of one for you.
Damn straight. Same to you.
Now,
and that's part of being the leader.
Exactly. Not only is that part of being the leader, but that's also partly pulling the trigger. You got to be ready for the uncertain.
Right. And I like that you brought it up in that way. So pull the trigger on the back of my shirts doesn't necessarily mean grab the gun, pull the trigger. Not at all. That's part of the reason, it depends on the situation, right?
That's realistically how you discharge a firearm. But
you got to pull the trigger. Well, to some Democrats and lefts, guns magically go off.
You can just smack the buttstock on a table or on the ground and it'll go off. Basic training.
We actually did that experiment in a live stream, one of the very first ones, and that is inaccurate. It does not fire by doing anything like that. Of course, we were using snap caps to simulate if it does fire, but of course it does not. Even if it releases the BCG back into battery, first of all, look at any firearm, period. It could be semi-automatic pistol, semi-automatic rifle, anything with a bolt carrier group. If you have your slide locked back or your BCG locked back, you drop the magazine into it and let go of the slide and or BCG, all it does is chamber the round. The firing pin does not go unless the hammer itself directly engages the firing pin to then, of course, ignite the primer and so on and so forth. But there's a sequence of events that has to happen. And then not to mention your sear and bolt catch and all that crap is there to help prevent any of those type of things from happening. But pull the trigger isn't just gun related.
No,
it's a meaning, right? For a lot of different things. So like trying to achieve something in life, you miss every single shot that you don't take. So pull the trigger, in my meaning, my definition, not only shooting guns, is you want something bad enough, you have the motivation, the drive, and the will to do it, you got to pull the trigger. You got to make a move. Get off the X, pull the trigger. You got to do it.
Speaking of that there, brother, just being as we're offline here for a second and not in the Minnesota Overlander Jackson West character. Now, mind you, I'm most of the listeners I don't think have heard us refer to me under my government biological name, but it will be Randall, otherwise known as Randy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, pulling the trigger. When we first started this, you didn't know me from Adam. I didn't know you from Adam. I reached out to you, trying to get a collaboration going for something to get, a more base ground covering for what I wanted the podcast to be about. And you could have told me to fuck off.
I thought about it.
You didn't know me from Adam. You could have told me, you know what, go fuck yourself. I don't know you.
Right.
But instead of doing that, you pulled the trigger on setting up the collaboration. And then both of us ended up pulling the trigger on putting together the collaboration. And we're still pulling the trigger here today, even get more merchandise up on the website. And, making this little tight-knit family group that we've got going through the brand.
Absolutely. It's every day there's something that you have to pull the trigger on, whether it be a decision on something that's important, whether it be, what to do. It could be, I don't like this fucking job anymore, and I'm tired of being treated the way that I'm being treated, right? Like, if you're afraid to pull the trigger, you're going to be stuck. And the real meaning behind pull the trigger, 100% meaning, is not to be complacent. When you fall into a place of complacency, meaning you get too comfortable in your situation and you don't evolve with shit that is constantly evolving around you, you're going to get too far behind and it's going to be very hard to catch up. You have to constantly evolve. And that is pull the trigger. You have to adapt and evolve to surroundings and situations, just to keep your life where you want it to be. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't and can't.
Exactly. And that's speaking of we show this here. I'm going to touch base here on another personal work story here of pulling the trigger. So, the other day I was kind of sort of faced with a bit of a decision here. My boss was out on the platform there in the warehouse with us while me and the main forklift driver were loading this guy. Now, mind you, the week prior, it was on that Friday beforehand, it was me, my one other coworker, and then the new incoming temp guy that was there with us. And I didn't really have much of a choice but to kind of rush through what I had going on to try to kind of throw myself in like 6 different places at once. Now, granted, we are a part of this younger millennial generation. However, the one thing I will say here is this. Yes, did I get my ass chewed for screwing up a couple orders? Sure. Wholeheartedly, I get it though. We don't want the people that come to us every day to pick up their shit to do their job getting things that they don't need or missing pieces, because then that fucks them and then that fucks us. So, yeah, I got my ass chewed in front of the forklift driver and a customer. However, I could have just stormed out right there and pulled the trigger on making the decision of, fuck this. I'm not going to have my ass chewed today. I'm not in the mood. And then I'd be out of job. However, I pulled the trigger on making the decision to go, you know what? Yeah, I made a mistake, but guess what? I'm human. My name's on the paperwork for the pull list. I fucked up. The only thing I can do from there moving forward is just slow down and take my time on the shit and make sure that the orders are pulled in the correct order, so this way that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely. Accountability is part of that too.
Exactly.
Like you said, being accountable is part of pulling the trigger. You have to be able to be humble, adapt, evolve, be accountable, be humble. It's basically the same shit as be the leader.
Yeah.
Those same things fall right into the same category.
Exactly. And that's the main reason I wanted to bring that story up. And we were offline there for a second, and I know we try to stay away from our day jobs, bringing it up in the live stream podcast and that as much as possible. But to be honest with you, I think that really comes down to explaining it in the utmost basic way, especially for most civilians, because they don't have the background knowledge necessarily at the level we might have. So, I mean, obviously you've went ahead and got your CCW, your range officer certificate. You've had, many years experience in the Pro 2A firearm community. You've taught Jonna what she knows.
I'm also an NRA instructor.
And you have that background. And then here I am, maybe, grew up in the city, technically a city boy, but per your terminology and definition, redneck as fuck over here. I've had my 6 years fair share of fun gunning and Army training. I've also had about, I'd say, 4 or 5 years outside of that where I was sitting behind civilianized weapons. So, learning weapon systems, getting out, shooting, having fun with it. Even if it's things like airsoft or, paintball, you still learn the fundamentals. You can't really necessarily hit your target that you're aiming at if you're just pulling the trigger 80 different times. And
that's the best part about paintball.
Yeah.
I can put down 20 paintballs every 1.5 seconds with my electronic hopper.
But see,
I'm good at that.
Yeah, but see, here's the funny part. The last time I went paintballing, I don't have the fancy paintball gun. So basically what I got's a nice little double finger trigger, okay?
Yeah, the round.
So basically, as quick as you can pull the trigger is as quick as those paintballs are coming out. Yep. Pretty much double tap.
Mm-hmm.
And so as quick as you can pull the trigger, as quick as they're coming out. And even with
got electronic hair trigger.
Right. And
you know, semi-auto.
Right. But I mean, even with most of my CO2 airsoft guns, even, because like I was telling you, we do a little bit of air competition league too. So
That's for the ladies out there.
yeah,
We're
fucking
still offline, right?
Anywho,
All
so
right.
I mean, even with airsoft though, you still have your sights. You have to aim down them to get on target, and most people look at a gun and go, "Oh yeah, no, that can shoot like 300 rounds in 2 seconds." No, if it's semi-automatic, unless you put a bump stock on it or a giggle switch, you're only getting one bullet per one trigger pull.
Yeah, and even then, you're still not getting that with fully auto.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, doing the realistic breakdown of that, even, it's just amazing that people think that. And so that's why I kind of wanted to venture off there for a second on more of a personal standpoint for our listeners and viewers to kind of get to know us a little bit better. We're not crazy preppers. We're not, big bad black market, non-gun law abiding criminals. We're, just everyday average blue collar Americans just like you. We bust our ass. We love our family.
I got a black collar.
See, you got a black collar. I got the Heather Gray, but it kind of looks blue on the screen.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is, we're blue collar. We bust our ass. We love our families, but most importantly, podcasts like this, this is, granted, this technically, if you really think about it, would be more of like a second job. But when it really comes down to
the amount of time we put into it, it's a job.
Yeah.
We just ain't getting paid for it.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, when you think about it, it's a second job, but it doesn't feel like one. We love all getting together on Saturdays, shooting the shit, answering you guys' questions, things like that. We enjoy providing you guys this content. And so you guys come in, check us out, check out the website and that. We appreciate it, but we also want you to know, we're not necessarily these huge rock stars. We're average, everyday Americans, but yet we still take the time out of our day because we love what we do. And so we do things like this.
Absolutely. So, speaking on that, this is actually just now up and running. This is a way that you can support the content that you're getting through Anchor and Spotify and YouTube, Facebook Live, and all that stuff as well. This is the Sin City Tactical Patreon page. YouTube will not allow us to monetize our videos because of the gun content and stuff like that. So we do encourage you to reach out, whether it be buying merchandise off of the website, or you can go on here. This is a cheaper option to be able to support the channel and the content. And this also is going to help feed both brands. So you can select a membership level. It is also a monthly subscription service, right? You have your bronze sponsorship level with what you get with that. A video shout out as a sponsor and one video a month, and a 5% discount code once a month for all merch on our website. Your silver sponsor level, a video shout out as a sponsor and 2 videos a month, a 10% discount code. And then you also get an exclusive Sin City Tactical sticker. After 3 months of support, you will receive an SCT sticker. And then the big boss, the gold sponsorship, 4 shout outs. So basically every Saturday live stream, you'll be shouted out as basically one of the founders of the brand when it comes to the online side of things. You also get a 10% discount code, but then you'll also get a personal direct line of contact for any questions, whether it be gun questions or how to start on YouTube. You could reach out to either me or Jax for that. Of course, we do recommend that you do it through the Patreon and support. But neither one of us is going to turn away questions because you're not physically funding us anything. We're not that type of person. We'll still answer your questions. We just, ask respectfully that you join in on the monthly there to help us out. Now, that one has some exclusive merch as well. This one includes the sticker, but then you also get a Sin City Tactical tote bag that is included in the membership after 3 months. One of the things that over here, at least on the Sin City Tactical side, and I know me and Jax have actually not talked about this yet.
Not quite yet, but we will after the podcast here tonight.
Huh?
I said not quite yet, but we will after the podcast tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you can see, it is brand new, but this is something that we want to do. At least me and Jonna in Vegas. Hopefully, Jax hops on board and does this for his community. When you join a membership, what it is going to allow us to do, we're trying to get about 50 Patreons, whether it be the $5 or the $25. We figure about 50. What it's going to do, it allows us to buy food items, right? So we can make these blessing bags. We are doing bags like these to give back to the homeless or needy veterans. And with our goal of 50 Patreons, it will allow us to do this twice a month to give back to vets and our city. Plus, every Patreon member that joins will have a personalized name tag attached to a bag to show the vet and or homeless person in need who donated that bag to them. So I want to make it personalized for you guys as well. If if you're a charitable type of person, this is something that is on the cheaper side that allows us to help our community and take steps forward and be a leader in our community. We want to build our surrounding areas up as much as possible. So doing these type of bags with sandwiches and chips and drinks, and I planned on doing like the little mini deodorant sticks and little mini toothbrush, little mini toothpaste, things like that, to give to people that need it. Right. I think that's a great way to give back to our community and to promote making America great again.
Yeah, and brother, I definitely agree with that, and that's, like I said, that's something we will touch base on offline here on that. I like that idea, because that definitely ties into kind of what we're all about on this podcast. It's not even more of a work-related type thing, as you said on the last collaboration podcast. It's good to have the family back together now that Griff's done with all of the competition stuff for the year. I know there's Winter League, but that's kind of a up in the air thing for the both of us right now. So for sure, starting next season, we'll be back into that. But one of the other main things tonight, we're going to touch base on here quickly before the Q&A, is the raffle schedules. So as we said on the previous podcast, there is a raffle going on, and you literally have until, I'd say, I don't know, what do you think's fair?
7:30 Central Mountain Time, 5:30 Pacific Time,
AM or
to
PM?
get entered into the raffle.
AM or PM?
PM.
Okay.
We're talking 30 minutes before the live stream hits.
Okay, so for you, that would be
5:30.
5:30. For me, that's 7:30.
Correct.
All right, awesome. So yeah, you guys have until tomorrow night to go ahead and get yourself entered into the raffle for either a Sin City Tactical piece of merchandise or a Minnesota Overlander piece of merchandise. And to win Sin City Tacticals, you want to say it or should I?
Go ahead.
All right. So, being as I got the permission to by Sin City Tactical, you have to go on to Sin City Tactical's YouTube channel, like the interview video with the pro ammunition or what's
Controlled pair
controlled
ammunition.
Okay. Controlled ammunitions, which the video title itself is Gun Shops During the Pandemic. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to the Sin City Tactical channel, hit that notification bell, then go over to the Sin City Tactical Facebook or which I think, and then comment on the post stating that all steps are completed. Now,
Absolutely.
that's to get entered into the Sin City Tacticals raffle. To get entered into the Minnesota Overlander raffle, I don't have a specific video I want you guys to like, comment on, but definitely hit the like, go ahead and comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like the Minnesota Overlanders Facebook page, and obviously I can't really track you guys pinpointedly on you guys listening to the audio version of the podcast, but I would appreciate you guys listening there as well if you're a viewer here on YouTube or on the Facebook Live. So you do that, and then you email myself at deadmanincairsoft@outlook.com stating that all steps are completed, and that will enter you into the Minnesota Overlander raffle to get yourself, a little something with the Minnesota Overlanders logo on it, and promote the brand a little bit more outside of just listening to the podcast itself. So I know we're cutting this a little late here, ladies and gentlemen, but with that being said, I'm going to go ahead here and wrap this up for tonight. And we are going to be on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, 6 Pacific.
Bam.
Pacific. And we will catch you guys for tomorrow night's collaboration podcast.
Absolutely. Stay tuned and get your name in for the raffles.
Yes.
All right, guys.